I'm introducing a brand new show in YouTube, the JML show. I want to be more irreverent, more skatey towards art in my criticism. So here I am at the Visual Arts Gallery, India Habitat Center, New Delhi, where Delhi-based Sangeeta Singh's solo show Spandan is on. Generally, when women painters paint imageries from the urban life, they tend to show sympathy and empathy towards the working class. Here, Sangeeta Singh also shows a lot of sympathy for the working class of Delhi. So my idea was to question her and ask her whether she is really interested in their lives or it is just a rich woman's fantasy. So let us talk to Sangeeta Singh. You are talking about the stray dogs and the city. So how do you connect this idea of stray dogs and the city? When I talk about a work of art by you or work of art by any woman, I always try to see, even if it is not needed, and I have this tendency to look at the iconic image, the central image, as the kind of what you call representation of, a surrogate of the artist oneself. Okay. So how do you place this dog? Do you feel like a dog?
Well, I've used the street dogs in many of my works. But of course that feeling is not there, but I just wanted to portray, like when you move around in the city, you see so many dogs moving around. So most of my paintings are based on whatever I'm seeing. So in the city life, like in this work, you see a portion of this high rises which I've just shown, and the street lights which in any city you find at night when you're traveling. So I just tried to place the dog in a very surrealistic manner on top of this, and again sort of placed a quilt on top and made him comfortable there. And it is just by his choice that he's sitting on top and observing the entire urban scene around. So that's what I try to show, that it's his choice to be sitting there. And
yeah, before we move on to any other painting here, shall we talk a bit about I'm seeing 2009 paintings, 2010 paintings. You already told me almost for 4 years you have been keeping the work, stocking the work for a kind of fabulous solo show like this.
Yes.
But I can very clearly see that there's a textural difference between those old paintings and these new paintings. Here it is almost like flat, very luminous surface and bright colors. So generally as people grow old, their colors become grey. But now when I look at your other paintings, the earlier paintings are grey and now it is becoming brighter. Are you in love or something?
Maybe it's a sign of maturity. I would say that, because earlier works, of course, you're right, you've noticed it rightly, there are a lot of textures which are used. So maybe I wanted to come to a more simpler form. There's more clarity in my thoughts now, so I'm wanting to be more precise and wanting to show what exactly I want to show. So that's how this change may have come.
I can see a lot of even we will go to other paintings also, but at the same time I can see a lot of photographic references.
Yes.
How do you justify that? Like these days, not too many people using photographic references. They have what I call them as a kind of a contemporary expressionism. They have left the photograph images behind because photography itself has become an art category.
Yes, yes.
Art in itself. Like people now we have. We started acknowledging it as a kind of gallery-based, it's as good as any other work of art.
Yeah.
So, still, you are actually somewhere caught between photographic image and painterly expressionism. How do you justify this?
Firstly, I would like to just tell that I travel a lot. So, traveling, of course, those experiences I would like to capture with me, in form of photographs, and then I enjoy studying those photographs once I transfer them. So it's a small process, like the photographs while studying the photographs, at times some thoughts come to me that yes, this way I can connect to this, so that's how I use them, and then of course compose my paintings using those references and then make my paintings.
So here I find very interesting thing. On the one side, I see a very realistic representation of one Gurgaon high-rise or any metro urban high-rise. And you can see that like new high-rises are coming here. And up there, as you earlier pointed out, there is a kind of surreal juxtaposition of your dual self or your own duality, your own two-ness, complete with the one pot of flower. So you are looking, maybe like if I interpret, you are looking back to the past, and now here you are looking at the future. And interestingly, you are not seeing any other human being. So I don't find much of a narrative happening here, but it's a kind of frozen moment. But interestingly, you told me that you are not using any projection or anything. You are straight away going onto your canvas, even if you are using photographic references. So how comfortable you are in tracing your, because I can see a lot of details in there, like staircase and all those things. So how comfortable you are in creating an image like this? You are showing your skill on the one hand and keeping yourself away from the kind of technological interference on the other hand. So how do you explain this thing? How comfortable you are in this?
Okay, this work, as you can see, there are a lot of high rises here and very detailing work which I have used. This is a portion of society where I live, like 2 years back when we shifted to Gurgaon. Suddenly I found, I have stayed in, as childhood, I've stayed in green cantonment areas. So, and suddenly you see a lot of concrete jungle, all around you see high-rise buildings and all. So as sort of a reflection of my childhood memories, I just use this pot, using it, just moving around to see greenery all around. So now in that case, now since I had to make a lot of detailing work, I don't use, like you said, there is no projector used. So of course it's a lot of hard work, I would admit that, to make this in such detailed form. But somehow I just enjoy doing it, because even though you're working hard towards the end, finally when you see your drawings come out the way you want, it gives you a very good feeling. That's how I made this. It's all personally drawn to a bigger scale and then painted on without using any projector.
This painting, it's very interesting. Its title is Chal Chala Chal. Many rich middle class women or middle class rich women feel empathetic, sympathetic towards the struggling people in the society, especially rickshaw pullers and things like that. My first question is, like, are you inclined to this charity stream of life, or you want to like to paint their lives and like feel good about that, or are you genuinely interested in the image like that you want to capture, because you said like you like in photography? And one good thing about this painting is that the whole feel of the painting changes. This black and the colors and the shadow play and all the changes, because your toe is seen there. It gives a totally different feel. Suddenly it brings from a kind of very surreal space to a kind of realistic space. So could you please explain this painting?
Well, I'd just like to begin with that, I have often used the rickshawala services, like when we were staying in Delhi, so our house was not very close to the metro station, but still it was a little close that I didn't want to drive from home to the metro station. And while coming to Triveni, where my studio was that time, I would take a rickshaw. So often while sitting in the rickshaw, speaking to the rickshawala, you would listen to their hardships of life, and then suddenly when you see the shadow falling on the street, and when he's riding away, the happy moments, I could feel the contrast, of course. So that's how this came to my mind, that why not make a series on them. So of course then I've used here, and in this painting if you see a small foot, which again I've tried to show my personality in this, along with this whole concept, that I'm sitting on this rickshaw, and of course this also shows one thought process, like it came to mind whether I'm taking him to his destination or he is taking me to my destination. So that sort of thing I clubbed in this painting, and I've shown 3 different colors by showing 3 different phases of his life cycle.
Yeah, this painting conversation is really interesting. Why? Because it has several aspects. Thematically speaking, there is some kind of a sexual tension, that is confronted by or witnessed by most of the couple in a city life or wherever it is. It's a part of growing old, maturing, but at the same time, stylistically and formally speaking, there's a kind of solidity, it's a kind of strength. It's a pyramidal structure unknowingly coming into being in this painting. So could you please talk a bit more about it? It is real at the same time. It is surreal. It is ethereal because the figures are floating. Even if the fan is there, you don't know whether the fan is down or up. So could you please explain this painting, Conversation 2?
Well, again, here I've used my own imagery in this work. As I was I clicked few photographs, like I've told you, I use a lot of photography and all. So while studying that, the whole idea and the concept came to my mind that why not build it up in this way. And in this fan itself, like it's a small element added just to show the interior, as well as as you said rightly, that I wanted to show the works, these two figures floating in the air. So that's how I used them, and the whole idea came to me just by seeing the photographs. And of course the interpretation, what you have interpreted, that the city, you see the couples little away from each other, that concept also was there in my mind, of course. So I think you rightly studied my painting and you interpreted it in the right way, I would like to say that.
So again, we are reaching another conversation where we have. In this conversation, what I see is one young guy cartwheeling and one older person actually looking into his future past or contemplating whatever he has gone through in his life, etc. So I found that this conversation is quite intriguing. You are not showing anybody that actually who are talking in real. They are not face to face. They are actually away from. They are away from the gaze of the viewer. So I think like this is a very conscious strategy. Maybe you like that strategy, and you don't want to be an object of gaze. So how do you connect to this young cartwheeling guy and this older man in his all loneliness? It's quite. It's not Indian. It's not. You cannot say that it is Indian. It is something like quite universal.
Yeah, that of course. Often while taking morning walks, I've noticed old people also, going off on morning strolls and all. No? So often, I've noticed that they're just standing and observing silently. So with that sort of concept, like I am trying to show in this silent conversation of this old man, and he's just gazing in serenity just around, and the small, maybe of his younger days, he's just trying to reflect. So like how energetic and he's exercising here. So and this entire stretch which I've shown is again like he's remembering his old days and his journey of life. So again, it's a very silent, subtle conversation which he's just talking to himself maybe and just enjoying that phase of life which all of us have to reach one day. So that's what I try to show in this. Like in the army life, normally you get transfers, so every 2 years I've seen a different station. So in fact, when we were small, we used to look forward to shifting. After every 1.5 years, we keep wondering now where will be the next posting, and happily go around. So of course, that's how in my education also has been in different schools wherever my father was posted. And then I graduated from Lucknow. I've done post-graduation in chemistry, which is totally different from the art field, of course. And it also happened that I got married to again an army officer. So again, I was in the similar field of movements, lot of movements every 2 years, 1.5 years and all. So once when my husband and we were posted there in Mizoram, I happened to meet an artist. That's how my journey towards art must have started, what I feel. So that was 12 years back. Basically, I met an artist and I worked with him for almost 2 years there in Mizoram, and I really enjoyed working with him, and I learnt portraiture under him. And then thereafter we got posted to Delhi. So that's been around 8 years back, 8 to 9 years I must say. So ever since after coming to Delhi, I got fully involved in painting, and I've taken this as very seriously. I've been practicing art. I learnt under Mr. Rameshwar Bhuta in Triveni, that I worked under him for almost 6 years. That's how I would like to share my journey in art, like how it was like from a science student I converted. My career took a total U-turn and I shifted towards art field. And of course, after coming to Delhi, I've been working for last about 7-8 years, I must say. taking part in various shows, group shows. I've exhibited my works abroad. I have had 2 shows in Austria also. I have participated in an art symposium recently. I went to Austria, and of course, like in the saga, which you can see at the back, the umbrella, this is titled as Saga. This is sort of a summary of the entire theme what I have shown in my exhibition here. So small elements I used on these umbrellas. So this inspiration was, of course, it emanated from my visit to Austria. So that's how I think a lot of traveling has helped me to grow as an artist. I'm using those journey moments in my art, and together that's how I've grown, I would say.